To write about the plot, the pressure for something to happen. If I'm writing a book about writing a book, a self-help book with no advice, not the action items or what it thinks the point is, something else that can resonate for a long time. Instead, the inadvertent narrative of it. There is no clear end. Even the beginning, I tried to rewrite it because I'd second-guessed how it began. But to pander to what I think I should do rather than what it was, I don't want to lose sight of that. As I began to read over what I wrote, this new beginning, I became bored and decided that for now I would leave it behind. Maybe it would be better to trust the natural rhythm of how it was all going instead of going backward with the idea that what I'd done before was not good enough. I will try to trust that since it was what got me here, I would commit to how it had gone. When I was walking out of the subway station, I wanted to think of a way of seeing my life that didn't see all of the years as a waste. Instead, to have gone down the road in many different directions, thoroughly enough to know that what was at the bottom of all of it was this. I see where I began, the early success I had, and the decade-long circle I drew out in order to understand what it was. To understand that there is no end to that work, and to lose the idea that there can be any real beginning to it either. I'm grateful for the hours I'm able to put in to sit and write. When I look back at all the years of trying, I can see what's there, and to understand that the remaining hours could be thousands, but it could be less than that, but there is a limit to it. If I'm depressed or something like that, a lot of the time I can't control it. It's a part of who I am, but I can write, and being able to write through it and through the happiness, to begin to see that is all part of whatever this is, to be able to write, that is the person I am. However that seems from the outside, it is what it is. There are times where I see myself as an abject failure, and it's difficult to break myself out of it, but I notice something about it. To be a failure is one thing, but to be an abject failure, to accomplish that kind of magnitude, that is a unique accomplishment. If I'm honest, I can see the side of myself that wanted to fail for all these years. I don't know why, maybe to build some sense of authenticity, but regardless of the level of failure that I feel, the growth that I feel is immense and undeniable. The sheer volume of inspiration and love that I've felt throughout the years, the heartbreak and defeat and rejection, the aloneness and the despair, to experience so many different versions of all of that. I tried to imagine the sum total of it all, to hold that all in one place for a moment. I was impressed. To imagine a life without some feeling of failure seems deprived. My hair grows and I cut it, and it grows again and then I cut it again, and we try to steal as much time as we can, doing the things that draw us out before our time is through. When I was cleaning out the car, I found a fortune in the back seat. Your business will be prosperous. Lucky numbers 3, 7, 8, 31, 34, 43. I didn't know if it was my fortune or someone else's. I looked up the word prosperous. Success in material terms, flourishing financially, bringing wealth and success. To look at that fortune and to feel what it is, maybe that is the extent of it. I can sit and imagine whatever success I'm craving in this moment, so that it is as real as it ever needs to be. To think that I am as successful right now as I can ever imagine. That there is nowhere to go. There is no one to become that I'm not already. That I'm here. That I'm not dead. That what I'm writing now is as good as it will ever need to be. And suddenly, I begin to think of what shoes I will wear today when I go downtown. If I will wear my usual sneakers, what a meaningless point. But when I think of what it means to write, the pursuit of sitting and trying to write something meaningful, to find some authenticity, and then to find my thoughts returning repeatedly, obsessing suddenly for some reason on what sneakers I will wear. Something as banal as that. And of course I will wear my ordinary sneakers, the same ones I wear every single day. But my mind needs to wander away, to do what it does, to tweak and to change, to try and make things better. And maybe that is it, that impulse to try and make things better. Maybe that is the point, to accept and to improve. Yesterday we went on a walk in the woods about 40 minutes out of the city. The endless trees copy and pasted in every direction. A few trails looping around one another. We got into a bit of a fight. I don't want to get into it much, but the night didn't go so well either, and the morning was quiet. I sat in my office writing, listening to the sounds of the house. I could hear Nora downstairs drinking her bottle. Miriam sat on the couch, the fabric of her clothes moving against itself. The sadness that percolated in me, it seems to come from oblivion. It pours upward, ballooning like a hernia. It is remarkable how low my mood can plummet. It is difficult to recall, not because it is painful to recall, but it feels blurry. Instead, I'm reminded of Nora, to be there with my baby daughter, how she is learning to climb, how when I lie down on the ground next to her, she climbs along my legs and pushes into my abdomen, the mesh that is there from the surgery I had all those years ago, a strange numbness, like my mind registers that there is pain, but there is no feeling at all. She laughs and climbs upward and grabs at my face, and I begin to laugh as well, as full of a laugh as I've had in a long time, as mindless and pure of a laugh as I can ever remember having. And where the laughter comes from, it is the same place that the sadness comes from, how in a way there is no difference. Miriam and I were quiet on the way to Burger Shack. Miriam wasn't sure she was going to order anything at first, but when we got there she decided to get a burger. We split some fries. Despite the tension, we were still able to enjoy our meal. On the way back, after we crossed under the bridge, she was telling me about what was going on with her friends, and then our issue came up. I don't quite know what it even was. Us talking about how to get along, because it's not always easy. It is usually easy, but every so often we come across something, and I'm difficult. She said that when she was at the fair with Nora, she was looking at all the other families, the mums and dads playing with their kids, talking with one another. And she said to herself that she knew I would never do that, to be a dad who talks to the other parents in the park, and how sad that made her. In therapy yesterday, through it all, after our session, I was able to recognize a side of myself that I referred to as that guy, the one who was there when things got as dark as they do, the side of me that gets as fucked up as I get, who's infallibly alone, the version of myself that is isolated and hopeless, the guy who I let drown in the river but did not die, who is as tethered to me as any other version of myself that I know. To sit with that guy, to give him a glass of water, to pat him on the back and let him know that I will be with him, that I will have his back because I know that he has mine. And today, after I finished transcribing everything I'd written in my notebook from the past few days, I went downstairs and ate some lunch. The house was quiet. Miriam and Nora were out, the drop-in daycare at the school near the house. They'd gone there most days for the past month or two. I'd never been once. I texted Miriam and asked if I could come visit. I walked over and she came and let me in. I sat there on the couch. I was the only man there, aside from a 12-month-old boy. I felt the discomfort in my stomach of being there, the other moms and the kids going around. But there was Nora, playing with a toy phone. Watching her interact with the other kids there. She brought me a yellow plastic egg carton, and I opened it for her. She took off the shell part and exposed the blue and green plastic yolk, and then she put that shell onto another egg. "That's like how we make our breakfast," I said to her. She left the eggs with me and then went over to a triangle foam thing that was attached to some steps. Some nanny told the kid he needed his butt changed. I sat on the couch with the plastic egg carton and the discomfort, but I'd figure it out for Miriam and for Nora. Some little girl took 2 sticks from a bin, and she took a drum from the shelf, and she began to bash the drum on the carpet.